right. So, all right, fam. It's your boy Big Walt back with episode 7 of the Block Boys podcast. Today, number 7. Nice. Today we've got the privilege and honor to have as a guest the brother Mike Charles Nahounou, who also goes by MC, who also has the moniker the Satoshi of music. Now that's loaded. We're gonna get a brother a chance to get into that in a second. But brother MC, welcome and thank you for being part of the Block Boys family.
Man, thanks for having me. I appreciate being here. What a time to be alive. It's an exciting time. We're gonna get into some nice Block Boy intel,
Yeah, no doubt. Well, look, before we get into, like the main, topics that we're going to talk about, why don't you, I guess, basically like explain for the people, like, who you are and what you're about before we even get into the specifics. But like, who is Mike Charles Nahounou, and how did you even come to understand and know like what blockchain is, for instance?
Definitely. My name is Mike Charles Nahounou, for those guys who don't know me. I'm a singer, songwriter. I'm somebody who's openly and publicly what you would consider chasing my dreams, pursuing my passion, and my passion is in the arts. So all things art. It transcends music. I've been singing since I was, 6 months old. My mom validated that. And she used to sing for me and I sang back for her. But I have an obsession with music, I have a real obsession with music, so much to the point where, I was putting music, I was raised in the church, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I had a little attitude with God one day. I was cussing him out, not cussing him out, but I
feel you.
And he told me, he had the nerve to tell me, right? That's how I thought, that I was putting music in front of him. So that actually led to something where he told me, after I had to humble myself and realize, you know what, he told me to expand the arts. That was an audible voice. Like, he told me to expand the arts. So I think I think a lot of it has to do with destiny, That's just, it was just for me to wear that moniker, whatever that moniker means. I have it that it's pretty valuable, because I just say, you have Bitcoin and then you have altcoins, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to finance, right? And trade and everything. And so musically, you have the Satoshi of music and then you have the altcoins, right? Not saying that they weren't gonna be higher value, but there's a premium that I'm interested in. In the same way, Louis Vuitton is interested into the fine arts, right? Why can't I be interested into a certain segment that you can charge a premium for your value, right? It's not just because you charge more, it's because you have a value attached to it, right? So you don't need to sell more, you can sell less with a higher quality. So right. About, I know you can go, but something about like Louis Vuitton, they don't drop, when you look at the definition of album or whatever, album just doesn't apply to music. It applies to a collection of, you know what I mean? So
absolutely.
But they could use album, they could use, those terms, but they use collection instead, right?
That's right.
We have a spring collection, we have a winter collection, and that collection has an ensemble of limited pieces, right? So it's all arts. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. And I think that's what led me to the opportunity to tokenize music as art, as
right.
art.
Now, so speaking of that, because like part of this conversation and for the rest of the audience, me and this brother have had a few conversations. So some of this is inside baseball. And as a matter of fact, the last time we talked, you were dressed a little bit more like me. Now you're giving us that corporate thug look. I'm a fan.
Yeah, what? It's so funny because it was just a different day. This is a day in the life for me. So, maybe that's how I was supposed to be introduced in this light. Because tomorrow I might I might have my Block Boy hoodie on, but it's still Block Boy. I got my hoodie on right now, though.
Oh no, I feel you. It's that versatility. It's that versatility.
You know, you gotta be able to. You gotta be able to go up in them offices and be like, hey, now, you know, I understand what you're saying now, but I still feel as though the value is this. They got to take it serious. You know, if you go in there with a hoodie, you have this perception. When we go in there with the corporate people like here, with me, and I'm the only one like this, and then I come in with a bunch of people just like you, it's a problem.
Yeah. Look, I always call it like my Zuckerberg hoodie. If Zuckerberg can wear hoodies, I can wear hoodies. But yo, check it. Some of the inside baseball, like, and this is getting back to that Satoshi of music. What a lot of people don't know, and unless somebody else comes forward and can prove with receipts, you, Mike Charles Nahounou, are the first person to put music and video on the blockchain as an NFT. A lot of people don't know that, and you actually have the receipts on the blockchain.
Blockchain Explorer.
Yeah. So, you know, you did this first. Like, give me a timeline. Give me a timeline from you and your journey in the music industry to deciding that the blockchain was where you wanted to go to bring your art, you know, to the world and monetize it.
So my timeline really quick, you know, it started when I was in high school, when I was still kept the fact that I did music permission. I use the word permission in the blockchain world, but in the non-blockchain world, I'll say private, right? So I was private. It was something that only people in my church knew, you know, because it wasn't something I was like, oh, I have a mission. I wasn't having a mission. I was out here looking for chicks, you know what I'm saying? Playing video games, you know, it's a you know, it was what it was. But then, you know, the light hit me in the year 2000. I was like, you know what? I mean, I'm fast forwarding, right? For the audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the year 2000, you know, I said to myself in the bedroom, you know what? I'm gonna go out there and take over the music industry. Like, those were my words, not go and be in or get a record deal. Those were actually my words. I said, I'm gonna go out there, take over the music industry. And then that was in 2000. So in 2000, a group called Jagged Edge, people know Jagged Edge, the twins are from Hartford. So their moms and them sponsored a kind of like a talent search. It was a one-time.
You're in Connecticut yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm in Connecticut, by the way. Hartford, born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut.
That's what's up.
And I won. Ultimately, I won that. They had Destiny Child girls came and judged it. They had I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot all the judges, but there was some big time judges. The twins and everything was there, and you know, I won basically. So that was like my validation. Before that, I won my Bloomfield High School talent show, right? So that Bloomfield High School, because I went to 2 high schools, and I had moved from Hartford to Bloomfield. And then that was when I was kind of getting close to my senior year. So I was like, you know, so I kind of tested it out there and I won. So all that's is validation for me, because I'm hearing myself and I'm like, yo, I think I'm nice. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I think I'm nice. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it to myself. I'm like, but you know, the people, the ones who got to tell you. So now I go out there. This is all the year 2000, and I'm gonna fast forward as fast as I can. And they all validating me, right? And then when you get to the highest level, like people who are signed to major labels validating you, like, oh, okay. But I always had a knack for contracts. I just never liked it, man. That's my problem. But it turned out to be a good problem. I don't like contracts, man. I just have a knack for seeing that's not fair. And the whole idea that I put this up, I created this and I only get 10%. Where does the part kick in where I get that 90%, or it don't kick in nowhere else ever?
No doubt. And you know, like you start talking about the contracts and the lopsided nature of these contracts. It makes me think about Dave Chappelle, where he was talking about they put, you know, in the contract that they get to use his name and likeness forevermore in perpetuity in this universe and the next and any other universes that out there. You know, like,
yo, my goodness. I ain't like words like that, man. Like perpetuity and then metaverse. Thank God they didn't have metaverse. Some of them people ain't seen it. They would have threw metaverse in there. Y'all would have been done.
Yeah.
Y'all contracts don't have metaverse in it. Y'all straight. There's a way out.
Yeah, no doubt. Metaverse is not the universe.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so you won the competitions. You was looking at these contracts. Yeah.
So 2000, right? I found it with some group of some individuals after going into the record deal, trying to get a record deal. I didn't get a record deal, but I got a songwriting deal. So I ended up selling a song to Rough Ends called Shake It. It was a song I didn't even want to sell it. I was just like, I just felt nobody could do it like me because I didn't write it to sell it. I wrote it to take over the music industry, right?
Yeah.
But I sold it, and that was just ultimately that was more validation. But that was 30 grand, you know what I'm saying, up front back then, 2000, right? No Bitcoin to tokenize it though, but that's enough. We'll get into that after. But the point is that that right there made me want to do music in perpetuity. That alone, because I ain't had to sell no rocks. I ain't had to hustle. I ain't had to do none of that. I could just do music. It's legal. Yeah. But I watch a whole lot of movies, and I'm connected. So, laws can tie you up, but laws can also set you free. So, I like to look at the law perspective of everything, because from 2008, that was when the change happened. So, like, from me going in the industry, starting a organization called PB Dollar, and that's People Building Dreams Off Lifelong Association. And that was pretty much like my band. So Paper Boys, that was me and my partner who rapped. And so our collective grind, we was open source back then before we knew it, because it was our open source mentality and our championship mentality that allowed us to create a market in an unknown market, Connecticut. Yeah. Nobody knows about, especially Hartford. They know it for being capital city, but they didn't know nothing else, not in the arts, right? And so we had help to the sense that when we started doing this grind, then we had a commercial radio station come, right? And then that commercial radio station allows us to have a big microphone. But then we learned quickly about politics. You don't just go up here and say, here's a hot music, play it. No, it don't work like that. So fast forward ups and downs, you know what I'm saying? We made our name, and me deciding, I got to go back to school because this money not coming back. We putting out money and it's not coming back. But why? How is it gonna come back when you get cents on streams? It was going the opposite direction in value. In price, right? Yeah. So I was like, I get it at curve. And then fast forward, I'm doing a lot of fast forwards. But the year I decided, I'm gonna go back to school and get my business and technology degree, that was 2008. What was born in 2008?
What happened in 2008? Bitcoin white paper. Boom.
We start there. So we're going to start in 2008. Yeah. Right? And that same year, my father started this company right here, right? That's why I had a lot of meetings today. So I got to make sure they're taking me serious when I'm saying, listen, stop playing around, right? So 2008, you know what I'm saying? And then I also met would be my future wife in that same year. I also became a Boston Celtics fan in that year, and they won that year. So it was a transitional year. Put it that way.
I see that.
So then in 2012, a year of having, right? I got married, I graduated, and then I got baptized, right? That's 2012. So I got to put everything together, right? And and then that next year, after I got baptized, and then around that time, I had the showdown. Steve Jobs said you can't connect the dots looking forward; you gotta connect them looking backwards, right? So I was just like, oh, but that's probably why that happened. I got baptized. I dipped in the water, and I see it now. But that next year, that's when I discovered blockchain, 2013. So I'm the class of 2013. I like to say class of whatever year you're the class of that year, because it moved quick.
Yeah, right? Dude. Yeah.
I'm an OG in the game. Like, so that's 2013. Fast forward to 2016, my father passes away, right? So in 2016, it was a big shock. Nobody expects that to happen. He's a big boss. He was the Satoshi of the oil and gas industry in Ivory Coast, because my father's from Ivory Coast, West Africa. They popping over there, by the way.
Yeah.
So he was the Satoshi. So in my bloodline, we used to be in Satoshis. You know what I'm saying? So We do this.
Right. And for the audience, like, look, everybody in my audience should know when we're talking about Satoshi, we talking about the first to do a thing, right? The very first to do a thing.
It's good to describe it that way. The first to do a thing. You heard it here first. It's described by you, and we have a consensus. I agree with that decision. All you need is 2. Let's go.
Right.
So, I quickly learned about the nature of, like business and politics and culture, and world events and how they all connected. And it all comes back to one important thing, which is data. For me, it's data. So when I learned blockchain,
oil, they say.
Yeah, I learned blockchain through my ATL connections through my brother, a 2-time Grammy nominee, who's produced my Come In song. I don't want to say single. I don't use those terms, but for the music audience, that would be equivalent of like album single. But this is musical art, which I own the trademark for musical art. So we do musical art that just so happens to include NFT. So I know for that. But that's how I learned my ATL connections that led me to learn from what we would call now a shit coin, if I can say shit coin.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, and it led me to Bitcoin.
We talk shit over here.
Yeah, you feel me? Because we have to sometimes. It led me to Bitcoin, and then I'm a researcher, and I like to know the source or the Satoshi. The first, how you describe it again? I like how you describe
the first to do a thing.
The first to do a thing, right?
Yeah.
The source code of a thing, right? When it's deal with a noun, the first to do a thing, that's a verb. When we're dealing with the noun, we look for the source code, right?
That's right.
Right. So I found blockchain, and once I found blockchain, I was just like, yo, it don't go no deeper than this. This is the ground floor. So let me just look around. So shout out to, I call him the godfather of blockchain for me. It's just Andreas Antonopoulos. You know what I'm saying? That he how to understand.
Yeah. I got one of his books on my bookshelf back there.
Yo, he
shouts to Andreas.
Yeah, he teaches you how to understand blockchain. And if you watch him, like, he's not really bothered with this type of stuff that people bother with. But if he bothered with something, I'm gonna be bothered with something. Trust me, because he explained everything in a way. Just go see, do some links or whatever, shoot to him. But pretty much that's why I saw data as the most important thing. And before the year my father passed away, when he came to America, he visited and he met my daughter for the first time, who was 3 months. Or 3 or 6 months, I think, at the time. And I told him, I said, hey, Pop, big data is the new oil industry. Because I know he in the oil industry, I'm in the tech music industry. So I'm like, look, it's like, I almost was like coming out. I was like, I'm coming to shout at your industry, Pop. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you. Yeah. I'm coming at your industry,
It's
Pop.
like a changing of the guards, literally. Like father in actual oil, son in the new oil.
Bro, that just gave me chills, bro. Like, that's what it was. Cause my father on his phone running business. Now I know what it was. Like, my father, he was on the phone. He was running an oil and gas company. So when he here, but when it's time for business, it's time for business. So, and I seen that. So I have that same type of energy as well. But he looked up when I said that, right? He's like, oh yeah? Cause I'm like, that's his shot. I was like, yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's the new oil. So he asked me to explain. I was explaining. I can't explain how I could now, but I was basically, it wasn't at that time, I was blockchain, but it wasn't blockchain like that. It was just more, I'm seeing the connection of big data and how important big data is. Velocity, variety, right? You know what I'm saying? The how fast, the types, you know what I'm saying? Of data is a lot coming quickly, you know what I'm saying? And veracity of data. Big data, you know what I mean? You gotta be able to. So that was why I was thinking, and I was explaining all of that to him. He was just like, oh yeah, he's just like, all right. And he went back into his work. He passed away 3 months later, you know what I'm saying? And 3 years later, 2019, what did big data become? It surpassed oil to become the most valuable asset on Earth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And now everybody is on blockchain rules. So what Michael Saylor, hold on, let me just continue the timeline, right? So 2016, my father passes away. I go through basically my own Game of Thrones to secure my father's legacy. So what I use musical art to do is to tell a story of what I actually had to do in the last 5 years and still doing. I'm still doing this thing. So that's why when you see my brand, a lot of people, everybody Satoshi'd up. Everybody is anonymous. Everybody masked up except me, because I got real people that I gotta protect, that they helping me. You know what I'm saying? So it's deep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The story is valuable enough where I don't want to put it out on something that costs 99 cents. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather put it on something that costs a half an ETH. That's how much the song that I sold that was first paid for. I'm in that business. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Tory Lanez, you know. So let me make sure to connect the timeline. So that I minted my first NFT in 2019. I obviously saw the value of NFTs with anything of value because I was looking at it from the data level. So
wait, let's pause 1 second. You minted your first NFT in 2019.
2019.
Most people didn't hear about NFTs till like 6 months ago. Some people might have heard about it, you know, maybe a year ago. But in 2019, you minted your first NFT.
Yeah, I got the data that shows that I was sitting on NFT as a musician. That's key. This Instagram filter says musician. Right?
I like that.
So as a musician, I was sitting on NFTs minted 1 full year before the first musician came. That's on the blockchain. And the first musician came, he just so happened, that's his name, is 3LAU. I only learned about who it is because of the blockchain. I didn't even know that this dude, I'm just like, who this? It just so happened to be somebody popping. They just got a deal for like, I think almost 50 M. Damn. That's like Cash Money. When Cash Money got a deal for like 20, we still use, us PB Dollar, we still use Cash Money as a reference of like, if we gonna get some deal, it got to be like a Cash Money deal. It got to be like a Master P deal. We not, you know, that's how I was leading the charge on that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how it was. So that was
I feel you, but if you allow me to interrupt you for 1 second though, given that it had never been done before, because you were the first, which is why you get to claim to be the Satoshi of music, how did it even come into your mind? How did you even conceive that you could put music on the blockchain as an NFT?
Well, you know, watching what happened with CryptoKitties in 2017 made it obvious that, and shout out to Kevin McCoy, who he conceived in 2014 the idea of using, you know, if this works for Bitcoin, we can try it for anything, including our art, because he's in the art. He's a multimedia artist. He's thinking of all things of value to him, and art is value to him. So he tied it to a GIF. So CryptoKitty was built off of that concept, you know what I'm saying? And then CryptoKitties use Ethereum.
Shout out to Dapper Labs.
Yep. Right, shout out to Dapper Labs. And Ethereum at that time was 2 years old, because Ethereum came in 2015. And it was 2 years old, so it broke Ethereum. The art world broke Ethereum, not any other industry.
That's right.
The art world broke Ethereum. So it allowed Ethereum to say, hey, watch out for industries like the art world. They can break it, they fixed it, whatever. That was great. It tested the resiliency of the model, right? So when everybody was, well, not everybody, it seemed like everybody when you went crypto, but at that time, the people who was in crypto was talking about what CryptoKitties did. And that just lit a light bulb in my head, not to go mint right away. It's just like, yeah, that's right. Like, you can imagine that with music. I was just already thinking, imagine that with music, right? But there was no platform for that yet. You know, I didn't really go into CryptoKitties. Maybe it could have been, because all NFTs is a media file, whatever that media file is. If you can capture that information in that media file, you can tokenize it. That's all it is. So it was a GIF file that Kevin McCoy was using in 2014, and it was, you know, JPEGs, whatever, in 2017. So by 2019, I was ready. I had the song Crypto. It's just titled, the first song that went on the blockchain. This is another thing. It's titled Crypto. All right?
Yeah. And look. The video has a slick little gold Lambo in the joint. This video is slick, y'all. I'm gonna have to put a link in there so y'all can see it. It's like,
show some clips, you know. So the video, you know, I purposely titled it to make sure that, you know, like, I'm here. My brand is about blockchain, crypto, not oh, I'm not making a Bitcoin song or Ethereum song. I'm making a crypto song. Because crypto for me means freedom from chains, from a system that is centralized, not designed for you to ever be free. And the sensitive thing is, like, I felt that's what my father kind of had to go through. He had to go through centralized chains. So I had to come and just be like, yo, blockchain rules. Stop playing with me. I don't play. You know what I'm saying? Stop playing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's right.
So that's what it is for me. So that's where my drive comes from, because I was able to move Goliath. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. You know, I'm still in the war, but I was able to accomplish some things because of blockchain rules. You know what I'm saying? Because in encrypting data in a way where you need validation only, or it don't move. You know what I'm saying? Signatures and stamps only, or it don't move. Blockchain rules. You know what I'm saying? So that's 2019. I minted it, but I didn't sell until 2021. So it was sitting for 2 years, right?
Gotcha.
The NFT, right?
Right. No,
the video NFT was sitting for one of the video Ts was sitting for 1 year, and then the video NFT that incorporated the full video that you mentioned and song, that was on there for less than a day, and it went.
Damn.
Crazy, right? So it all in that same year, because Mr. Millennial, you know, he was the first NFT that I'd ever sold, and the way he sold, like, for anybody who want to know how I suggest how to sell their NFTs, it start with the community, build a community, right? I tapped it on Facebook where I met you at, right? This connection came from, shout out to Deirdre, Black people in cryptocurrency.
Shout out to Deirdre,
right? Shout out to Deirdre, because she connecting people, like, and she don't have nothing to do building something. And this is how it happened. And she's connected to history, right? Because had I not go in black people in cryptocurrency and have somebody commissioned from there, an artist, her name Julia, shout out to Julia, who I said, make a black version of the Wall Street Bets. So it really started at January 22 when I had the idea. I sparked the idea, and I actually forced it. I was part of it because I'm like, yo, what the Reddit subgroup is upset about is actually what I could represent, like, but in a different way. They going against Wall Street. I'm going against.
You talking about Wall Street Bets.
Right, Wall Street Bets. I'm just like, okay, let's make a black version of this. And I went to the black, you know what I'm saying? So you'll be able to, I'm gonna show you some assets that you can use too. I got screenshots. I got the receipts, blockchain rules. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so once that momentum started, I pushed it over into Maker's Place. Maker's Place is the one platform I chose. It's because, again, I want to be fine arts. I don't want to be everywhere. I want to be somewhere. You can find me here. And through Maker's Place, they got to deal with OpenSea. So you can find me on OpenSea because of Maker's Place, but you're not going to go through Maker's. It's going to have a Maker's Place logo though when you find me on OpenSea. Right.
So just for the audience to make sure they understand, like, your model, the way you're approaching this, you're not a mass producer. You're not into mass production. You want exclusivity and you want high value, and you're taking it from an art perspective. Is that correct?
From an art perspective, but the thing is, the advantage that a musician has in an art perspective, right? Here's where it gets cool, is that musicians' art are used to being consumed in mass. Mm. You go platinum for that one work of art. You go diamond for that one work of art. But Picasso, he getting a whole lot of value, but he's one work of art. So there's some balance in between. And I feel like I found it. Because it's not just the Satoshi music being the first to just put something on a blockchain. That anybody, it's just like, I like that concept. I think I heard you mention that. I think is the tree fall down and no one hears it.
Yeah, if a tree falls in the forest, nobody's there to witness it. Did it really fall? Right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, so you the Satoshi music. So what? Right? Okay. All right.
Yeah, if nobody knows.
In the blockchain world, what people may not or not yet understand is it's not about who do it best. It's about who do it first. Right? Yeah. Again, I don't care who. Nobody will be able to say they the Satoshi in music unless they mean something else with it. I'm be like, oh, you the Satoshi of making a music for 345.6677 seconds? I guess so, but you're right. You know what I'm saying? That was a fork, right? So you can be specific and be Satoshi anything, because as you defined it, it's the first of doing a thing, right? But I'm not trying to compete with everything, right? I just want to be the Satoshi of music, anything to do with the artist's music. And so what Tory Lanez, shout to Tory Lanez, did shows how fragile the business model was. All he did to be the first human being to ever go platinum in less than a minute, not over a minute. Some people that's like Usain Bolt, right?
yeah.
Because my mom is Jamaican too, so man, a bad man and done at the same time. Now Usain Bolt recording, Usain Bolt that man. Not Madonna, not Jay-Z, not Beyonce, none of the greatest, Michael Jackson. Nobody went platinum that fast, but that was blockchain rules. But what happened is he finished whatever was the model. So I feel like this is how I feel like me and Tory Lanez worked hand in hand, whether he knew it or not, blockchain rules, because he went that away with how fast you could go with this thing. I went this away with how much money you can make with this thing, and we come together. So he sold $1 million for an album, right? With 7 songs on it for 99 cents. Jeez. Who gonna ever want to pay more than 99 cents for an album with 7 songs after Tory Lanez? That business model, people will. The whole point is Tory Lanez, he's not going backwards, he's going forwards. You know what I'm saying?
True that. Yeah,
so with me now, one song, right? For a half of ETH. First of all, I disassociated with a dying currency, and I put it with a currency that's living and gonna grow. So that one transaction for a full song is not 99 cents or 14 cents when you fracture in 7 songs for 99 cents. The 99 cent dollar now is 14 cents, right? Yeah. So 14. I need to do my recalculations based on 14 cents now. But anyway, a half of ETH can be worth 5 million one day, but that same one song is gonna be worth a half of that. See what I did there? You know what I'm saying? So it's a business model part of it too that I feel like I understand, because there's a just balance, especially when you can prove that you can't say that a JPEG, shout out to Beeple, who was connected to Maker's Place and Christie's, and I didn't remember when I selected Maker's Place in 2019, by the way, caveat, I didn't know they was gonna make that type of connection and I'm gonna be associated with that type of a brand. I didn't know that part, see? And now I believe
it seems prescient though. It seems prescient, like you had the foresight,
Right. I have to. I'm blessed, and it's a few prophets that then talked over my life, and I like what they said. So I was like, yes sir, let's do it. I want that to happen. So I believe in prophecy. So at the end of the day, when you circling back to how this can help other people, right? Because really that's what it comes down to. I feel like we put a new brand value on music, but we the people for real, have to show what a value is, because we the one who create value. We the ones who say what's valuable, what's not. We the ones who buying all the Prada, the Louis, the Gucci. We should be buying all Kanye stuff. We should be telling Kanye, yo, you should sell your sneakers for like 100,000. Yo, you should sell your sneakers for 2 million, cause put an NFT on that. Ooh. Kanye, holla at me if you want to talk. Don't let nobody talk to you unless you talk to the Satoshi of music. You know what I'm saying? We'll show you how to do this thing. So check this fly stuff, right? You take one song, right, and you tied it to a value that's increasing, right? And it was one song. There's you can take that same one song, charge the same price, and then make several copies of it to some quantity. So my business model, right. I follow Maker's Place business model. They don't even allow you to mint more than 10,000 units of anything. So I just follow that model.
Yeah. All the major projects too. Like, if you look at CryptoPunks, you look at Bored Apes, and that seems to be the template. 10,000 units. That's it. That's the model. You got a fixed supply, and it's your job to increase the demand. And as long as you got a fixed supply and the demand is increasing, then you get a price curve that looks like this.
It's gonna go that way because that value is still going somewhere. It's just gonna spread out among less people, and then they're gonna want to compete. So any NFT, I don't go past 10,000. That's my goal. Even if that's just the model. That was the model I followed. So then it's like there's still some just variations, but that model was built on art. It had nothing to do with music. That model was built on art. So I just came in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Finish that thought, but I have another specific question.
No, go ahead, because I like your questions. I'd rather you interrupt me at any time, because I'll go.
All good. No, so earlier in the conversation, you mentioned this term musical art, and I think you mentioned the fact that you trademarked or you copyrighted this term musical art. And I want to ask you, one, what does musical art mean? Two, why did you find the need to copyright or trademark it? And three, tell us a little bit about intellectual property and what you feel about that. So that's three big questions in one. But yeah, additionally, like what is musical art and why did you find the need to trademark it or copyright it?
Well, I have a profound understanding of the value of creating value and being able to monetize that value. And the only way you can monetize that value that you create is to prevent other people from selling it. That's the essence of IP. So I could kind of tie both questions in that. Musical art now is what it is what I consider my art on the blockchain, because it's music, but it's art. So it uses NFTs, yes. So yes, technically I do sell NFTs because I don't sell anything but collectibles. Why would I not? When you can own it, right? Now, blockchain rules, but it's a term for me to describe NFT. Some people call them something different. Some people I've heard, shout out to some people I've met, digital twins. I heard you can call it whatever you really want to. It's just a technology, like,
That's right.
I still call cars whips.
That's right.
Engine in it, right? Like an automobile. It still has the same engine as an automobile or a car, right? But I call it a whip, and they got the same engine, right?
That's right.
So you call it whatever you want. The engine is called an NFT, though.
Yeah, that's right. Now, in one of our previous conversations, I know you mentioned something about, there was some issues with Twitter using the word.
Yeah, I was going to lead into that right now because you asked a good question about, I think I answered like all three at once, but that's the reason why I trademark musical art, because I use it. No one's using it. It's unique to me. So when if and when the NFT word buzzes, because it's a buzz term now, when it dies down, I'm still musical art. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dying down with no trend. I'm here to stay. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine arts. You know what I mean? So intellectual property to me is the most valuable property. Like, it's more property than, I'd rather own a trademark than a building. You know what I'm saying? Because I could buy a building or a couple buildings with a single trademark. You know what I'm saying? So it's still intellectual property, right? And that's why we have property rights, intellectual property rights. And we have copyrights, which is the most powerful form of intellectual property. And I know this because I'm in the music. We deal with copyrights. They don't really deal with trademarks and patents and stuff there, because even if they did, the labels own it. So they not having the conversations with the labels. They having the conversations on copyright. All masters and publishing is based on the copyright. So let me go through them real quick for instance. I love IP because that's why if I was a lawyer, I'll be in IP. And
that's what's up.
They have, and remind me not to forget about Twitter, but they have trademarks, right? So that is like me and you sell water. I sell Blue Magic. You sell something that's
Frank Lucas.
Yeah, but your thing is, you went from, first of all, you said in green something. It was something else. It was green. Now it's blue, but it's sky blue. And then you had the nerve to say it's Blue Magic now. Now you're going too far. You know what I'm saying? So because that's the underworld, you can't do trademarks we not in the underworld. We just go to the USPTO and be like, yo, cut that out, my youth. I'm gonna get mad. Stop it. You see what I said?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Cease and desist. Cease and desist.
All that. I mean, I don't gotta be Frank Lucas. I don't gotta go that far because I watch way too many movies. You don't want that far. You know
right.
So it's just I deal with it at the data level and at the that level. You know what I'm saying? So that's trademarks. So trademarks, you take care of it every like 4 to 6, 8 years. You gotta pay to continue to be able to flex your muscle like that, right? So you still got a cost to play, cost to be the boss, right?
Right.
Patents now gives you 17 years of exclusive rights. So nobody can sell nothing. You can't sell no water at all. You know what I'm saying? Like no water. It can't be blue magic, black magic, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't sell it at all. That's what patents do, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Still limited. It's 17 years. They got a protection. There's another one people don't talk about called trade secrets. That's basically like somebody find me KFC's how you make his chicken. You never find it.
Yeah.
That's a trade secret. You don't gotta do nothing but be quiet. You know what's a trade secret? You know what's the best trade secrets nowadays?
What's that?
Is your 12-word things to your private wallet.
Your mnemonic. Your mnemonic for your wallet.
That's a trade secret. That's the perfect. I never thought of that before to this show. But this episode number 7, what we expect. That's right. A perfect example. I can skip right past a trade secret. That's a trade secret, right? And then a copyright now, music world, that gives you protection. Oh, by the way, trade secret, it gives you protection as long as you keep it a secret. So stop snitching on yourself.
That's right, true.
What's that? Copyright now gives you protection. The term is the key term. Lifetime plus 70 years. Copyrights. Lifetime plus 70. So you can see now why the Beatles catalog, when Michael Jackson owned it, he's owning copyrights. Right? These things transcend generations to generations. So art is born in a copyright. Art has
now this is something that's a mind blower to me, right? So like it's one thing if you know Mike Charles Nahounou has a copyright to a song, and you have the copyright to it for a lifetime. So as long as you live plus 70 years, I'm assuming like your heirs can keep it for another 70 years. But what if, like, you remember Mitt Romney, he famously said, corporations are people too, my friend. So if you're a corporation, though, what does lifetime plus 70 mean for a corporation when the corporation lives on in perpetuity?
So that's a great thing. It's almost like, this instantly hit me. It's almost like asking the question, what happens after the year 2140? So the year 2140 is when there's no more Bitcoin. The last coin will be mined in the year 2140. So does Bitcoin in 2140 just drop in value immediately? No. You know what I'm saying?
It increases.
Yeah. This term just allows you to have an idea of what to look for during that time and what you can do legally during that time. So
right, but I guess my point for this question though is when you say lifetime plus 70 years, a human life average life expectancy in the United States is somewhere between 70 and 80 years or something like that. But like a corporation doesn't have a expected life expectancy. A corporation can live forever.
It's a loophole, it's a mind-blowing loophole that I don't think I really thought of until you just put it like that. And when you tie a corporation that it lives in perpetuity, that means in perpetuity plus 70 years. That's what it sounds like to me.
That's what it sounds like to me.
That's what it sounds like to me. And that's mind-blowing to the sense that for those who understand that, you might want to, think about assigning copyrights to corporations versus yourself.
Right.
And then you like essentially live forever. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're a corporation, and this is really, really sensitive to me. Why? Because my father's company was a family business. And it got messed up because of the family. You know what I'm saying? And then when you try to keep it in the family, certain family was trying to take it out of the family. You know what I mean? Family. Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
So it's deep. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you talk about it like that, it's just like okay, because an individual is a corporation, as you said. So and actually the so funny because the musical art, I don't own it. My corporation owns it. So it's already set up.
You already set up.
I'm already set up because I already know I only do that to be organized though, not thinking of it like that. So now I'm gonna just go back and make sure everything is assigned to one of my corporations. Hey, this you only find this on Block Boys Conversations, bro.
Yo, we thinking fast. We thinking fast.
On the fly, bro. You must be an inventor or something. You must have some. You know what I'm saying? You sharp.
There's a patent on the wall back there with my name on it, but
there it is.
Somewhat of an inventor.
There it is. Now you an inventor on that. Because a patent is when I don't got I got a patent pending. I just released it this year. But a patent names you an inventor, bro. You an inventor. You better claim it, bro.
True that. All day long.
Whatever what's on your wall, nobody can do that unless they come call you, bro.
That's right. Yeah, and I do plan on collecting, so that's what's up.
Yeah, so that's what's up. Let me talk about Twitter. So Twitter didn't have an IP strategy. Every company needs an IP strategy.
Yes, they do.
If Twitter had an IP strategy when they initially, then they wouldn't run to the problem they ran into. What happened? What was the problem? They have Twitter, no problem, but everybody knows about tweets. They didn't copyright tweet. They didn't trademark tweet. So somebody trademarked tweet after they was born. So you know that was somebody who do this.
Right.
And they had for an undisclosed amount. We don't know how much that man made off with. If it was somebody like me, I'd have been like, man, I need a couple B's.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's what we was talking about, like that little troll that sits under the bridge and makes you pay a tax in order for you to cross the bridge. Like, but patent trolls.
Remember when I said that I feel like that could buy a building. So if I sat on, and I'm gonna let a bombshell go on this. Now that we talking, I sat on something that costs a B, right, $1 billion, because I was able to settle that with Twitter because they were using my tweet that I own. So now they have to come to the settlement. I'm like, I ain't taking nothing but a B, man. I got leverage because that's Twitter. They can't go.
That's right.
They know tweet.
Can't change the company name, right?
They gotta cough it up, bro. And you'll be like, "Give me my B, thank you." So now I just bought my whole block buildings. I bought the block buildings. I bought blocks in the metaverse, intellectual property. So you ready for this bombshell?
Yeah, throw it in.
I also own the trademark TIC and TOC separately, TIC and TOC. For marketing and advertising. TikTok. TikTok.
That is.
It's only a matter of time before, some conversations gonna be had. And because what are they known for? Music.
Oh, of course. But let me ask you this question. Did you own those separately before the company came out or after the company came out? You like my man with the tweet. That's hilarious. But that's
the thing about it is we gotta talk because I like them. You know what I'm saying? We got some synergies going on. They in music.
True.
They got music, but they're not really selling musical art.
Right. Well, see, that's another thing too. Like, and I'm not gonna use your situation, but I'm gonna use like the tweet guy situation. He could say, I just want to be, but if he had some other business interests going on, he could have said, look, I'm not going to rake you over the coals for cash, but let's do some kind of partnership. Let's work together, and build together.
Offline conversations, my brother. We're going to have some offline conversations. Certain stuff that can't go deep, but I think it's time because intellectual property is important. And
it is.
There's a certain remember, when you do patents, you gotta disclose your ideas. And there's certain peoples that's not from our nations that sit down and just be like, yo, they got different laws. They be like, yo, you seen that one that block something, some block boy, somebody something. Man, we doing that right now. It's ours.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people don't know. I think it's called IPCT or ICPT, the international patent joints. sometimes it's worth paying that extra loot to get that. Otherwise, you'll see your same thing pop up in China, in Eastern Europe.
But the thing about it though is we do inherit some protection by being in the U.S. Though. We inherit some, but when you do what you said, they're going to list like do not mess with these. Don't mess with them.
Right.
Do not mess with lists. You know what I'm saying? But they still gonna go. A lot of people don't even have the resources to spend that. You know what I'm saying?
True.
But so you never know who see this. So my idea is this: look, I have corporations. I have interests. I have resources now. I have people resources. So it wouldn't just be buy you out because I'm not selling. I need that for what I'm popularizing because that's in advertising. Because I'm in the billboard industry too. I'm in the digital advertising screen, digital real estate, and physical real estate industry. I'm not selling that. You know what I'm saying? And I've been on it chilling. That was like me being in. That thing is about to hit the moon. And I've been an early investor in myself. I'm not selling that.
That's right.
I let you lease it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you don't gotta give me nothing. Just give me access to the real estate. Let's talk. See, barter.
Yeah, that's the word, barter, blockchain bartering. You might have to go get that.
You heard that here first.
Get that trademark. Copyrighted. Yeah. So Dig, man. I know me personally. There's things that I'm doing in the blockchain space, in the crypto space, and I'm definitely a capitalist. So most of what I do has a capitalist bent to it. Like I'm trying to make money, right? And I'm trying to increase, my own personal prosperity. But there's a double bottom line to a lot of the stuff I'm doing where I actually want to, do good in the community and things like that. And I know we talked about your antiquity project, TAP, the antiquity project. If you could tell the audience a little bit about the antiquity project, how that came about, and sort of what sort of altruistic, things that are part of that. Like, what are you doing for the community as it relates to that?
Yeah, so in the music world, when you put out anything that's music, right, song, whatever is a video, you call it an album or a single, whatever. But you don't really say I'm launching my music career. You just come out, right? Or you might say, oh, this is my debut album, or they use the word debut, right?
Debut, yeah.
So the Antiquity Project was my debut business model, right? It was my debut business model. I released that debut business model called the Antiquity Project on June 22nd, 2019. And all it was my first collectible, which was the sound of a horn, a battle horn, right? Because that on the Antiquity Project, when you show it, that's called an elephant. It's a battle horn. It's actually used to make music, and it was a weapon. So you could use it to protect yourself, and you could use it to play music. And that one is actually valued at like $7 million. That real thing. You know what I mean? Oh, wow. So it was already collectors driven. It was already arts driven to secure its value. So it wasn't just that though. It was like I wanted it to be an initiative. And so that initiative is such that in this new world where there's new money being generated, all these whales, right? Whale money, right? It's more money than it's in the blue ocean. Like, what are you gonna do with all that new money? Just keep it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not that type of person. Like, so my business model is such that 70% of the profit, right? And remember, this is not a lot of profit. I put about $20,000 of my own investment in the project thus far, and 70% of profit after investment, right, gets reallocated back into the arts industries, especially to young youths, underprivileged, to teach financial literacy. And when you look at crypto, I feel like it's doing that in a ball of one. It talks about freedom. It talks about the direction. It even talks about my faith, because I'm a Jesus Christ. I'm a Jesus freak. I was born in the church. Why not? But there's a lot of people out there. We all believe in one God. You know what I'm saying? But I am able to fully express myself. I don't got to worry about what I can and can't say on the blockchain. Don't talk to me. Actually, if you don't like it, go find another one. It's my station.
One of the main tenets is censorship resistance.
Right. That's that blockchain rules. can't see that, right? Because it's open source. You can't tell me what it can and can't happen unless we all agree. And we need a 51% attack for that. And that just costs way too much money to pay to do some beats, to do some bull. You're gonna pay and then that's there's no guarantee once you get to 50.9, 50.4, there's no guarantee you're gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just blockchain rules, really.
That's what's up. So like that's a beautiful thing. And I think also, there's, because blockchain rules, because code is law, there's things that we can do, on the blockchain platform, that we can do them in such a way that, we could do them in an analog way before, right? With written contracts. Sure. But these source code contracts make it, I think more easy and more transparent. And it costs less as well, because, you don't necessarily need attorneys. So where are we going to go with this? You were talking about 70%, of the profits get redistributed. But, who does it get redistributed to? Like, and I know we talked about grassroots organizations, and things like that. How did the organizations, get connected with TAP, or are you already, got a full slate of organizations that you're working with?
So I have a few grassroots and typically anybody from my local content. So anybody that's literally around where I am, those are the people that I'm dealing with already, right? So we talking about a few networks within the blockchain rules. Consortium is almost like a consortium. And then we're dealing with different partners outside, but we have to start inside, right? Just like there's one particularly MC Squared Nets. That's somebody who's doing like their program, for example. Those are programs that we want to reach. Programs like that who don't get funding, but they need funding because they're reaching youth that are underprivileged, that are like have a 2.0 GPA or less. So people that they don't want, right? They need funding. They just did this really awesome talent show, and there's so much talent out here, but nobody can find them, right? So you need when you empower people like those people, they're doing a lot of work, heavy lifting for you, because you want to do things with your money. So you program, blockchain allows for programmable money. So the 70% of profit, it's not like I'm going to say, hey, so I did this. We're going to say it because we're going to use a whole DAO system, right? The people decide where it goes, and there's some agreed upon system, right, that vets these initiatives, because these are important monies, right? So that is the kind of idea I want to have. Right now, I say I'm doing it by dumb contracts, because you got to trust me. But I'm pretty trustworthy. Like, people can trust me. Like, I have an army of people who they'll agree. But the fact of the matter, if I can do it manually, then of course when you make code law, I did it manually. You know what I'm saying? When you go the artist, the digital artist that I commissioned for Mr. Millennial, I gave her royalty check in Bitcoin, a graphic design artist. So I put the music business model on the art model, where there's royalties distributed to anybody that has the word artist next to them. I'm talking about engineers. I'm talking about dance collaborators. I'm talking about anybody that's considered an artist. I'm talking about the event coordinator, right? I'm talking about the person. So you now have,
they all contribute to the ultimate production of the art.
Artful ways to this final creation. It's not just me. Like, I'm the Satoshi in music because I was the first one to conceptualize how to put music on a blockchain and how to value that music that you put on the blockchain. Because I priced that song at 0.5 ETH and it went left. I wish I priced it at 1 ETH. I still, even though I was doing it, I still was like, that's still a lot of money for a song. Let me just put 0.5 ETH. I should have put it for, it would have been 1 ETH.
You left money on the table.
I'm always upset at myself about that. But it's still a hell lot more than 99 cents.
99 cents, yeah.
So I'm not going to be greedy.
No doubt. So let me ask you this, because we're talking about like community support, community development. One of the things that I try to communicate to my audience, and just in general, like part of Block Boys. The reason why I even named it Block Boys, and shouts to Jay-Z, because like this is a riff off of Rock Boys, one of his songs.
Block Boys.
Yeah, instead of the Rockefeller chain, we got the Block Boys chain.
Yes, but I need what that's an NFT, bro. That's an NFT right there in chats. I need to be the first. Yeah. I need to be the Satoshi of that.
No, like real talk, it is actually. I'm actually working on the Block Boys NFTs. I haven't announced it yet, but I got a special NFT surprise for all my early supporters on the channel. But
fire, bro.
But yeah, I really want to make blockchain accessible to the Black community. I know a lot of people hear about crypto, and there's a lot of people like getting excited about different coins and things like that, which is great. You should, but at the same time, I need people to understand that like blockchain is much bigger than cryptocurrency. Like cryptocurrency, if we drew a Venn diagram, here'd be the cryptocurrency circle, and the circle for blockchain would be this. And so if we can get in on this blockchain game, early, then we can actually get on the producer side of things and really really help build the new infrastructure. But I'm curious what your thoughts are as to what blockchain can mean for the Black community, in terms of like helping with this continuum of Black liberation and helping to basically just uplift the Black community. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that this is the biggest opportunity ever, like for the Black people. I feel like if in the Bible, they had Noah, right? Noah's Ark, right? The Bible said it won't come back again as a flood. But this is kind of like a flood when you talk about liquid assets, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because you're not getting flooded with water. You're getting I don't know how to put that in a way where
flooded with liquidity, maybe.
Yeah, because it is that. It's like you're illiquid, but you're liquid because the value is increasing for what you gotta buy, right? And you might be getting a lot of it, but it still don't mean nothing, right? So in the CF, like, so I do trade in Jamaica and I do trade in Africa, right? So $1 US dollar is 550 CFR or XOF, right? $1 is 150 Jamaican dollars, right? So, in those currencies, they're already used to being millionaires. But is that millionaire doesn't, you know what I'm saying?
No, I do. Right. I remember being in Vietnam and having like, or no, I was in Thailand and I think $1 was like 3,000 baht or something like that. Right. So you changed $100, you got 3 million baht or 300,000 baht or whatever the case was. Yeah. But yeah.
So that whole infrastructure is pegged to a source. That's the US dollar. And that source is literally showing all signs of about to weaken. And then all the currencies like hot air balloons gonna go floating away with no value. They're gonna be hot air balloons, they're gonna pop. There's nothing, right? So that's the problem. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why El Salvador recently just made Bitcoin formally a legal tender
what a great country. Point. El Salvador is because third world nations in general, like when you see third world nations, you're gonna find if they allow for Bitcoin for blockchain rules in third world nations, you're gonna see an explosion of innovation over there because it's just way too much innovation in blockchain that you can count. You can't really keep. You don't wanna like that. Somebody was telling me last night like that Alice in Wonderland something like like you don't wanna be working twice as hard to just stay in the same place. That's what's gonna end up happening with blockchain. So in terms of trying to chase it, but it's gonna be great because there's gonna be so many solutions. So me, I just want to stay on the infrastructure side of things, so I could just kind of get an idea of what's if the pipe is shaped as an L, that's it. But if they start shaping that pipe and it start looking like an S, I'm having some meetings like, yo, they changing the infrastructure. What's going on? You know, so how is this affecting them? So it don't matter how many coins, how many blockchains, how many projects. my core is Bitcoin blockchain. Like blockchain equals Bitcoin for me. They're one and the same. But blockchain is a concept that already existed. Satoshi or the Satoshi group just used it and made it work because they made it work. You know,
you made a point right there, and I just want to like drill on that point. And you mentioned infrastructure, and shouts to O'Shea Duke Jackson. He's always talking about infrastructure. I feel him on that. If you think about the California gold rush, there were a lot of people that went out west to look for gold, and some of them, were successful. Most of them were not successful in finding gold, but the people who made money, no matter whether they found gold or not, was the people who sold the shovels and picks and axes, right? The people who sold the infrastructure, they always made money. And so when you think about this sort of like crypto gold rush or this blockchain gold rush, it's the people who can go in and build the infrastructure that other people use that are going to make the money. So if you look at like Decentraland or Sandboxes, these metaverse platforms, that's infrastructure. Now, you might build a store in the metaverse. Your store may succeed or fail. Either way, Sandbox or Decentraland, wherever you built your meta store, they made their money. You know what I mean? Because they're basically selling you the picks and axes. And so I think it's real important for people to focus not just on being consumers, but to build and also build infrastructure.
Yeah, I love that example. And I also like when people study the story of Rockefeller, how he made his fortune. It's like, he went down there and he was strategic with his spending. Like he said, okay, you got to be a visionary to really amass that type of empire in which that you turn into a dynasty. But he went and he secured the land next to where the infrastructure was going to be, right? And so he just pretty much, he's in the transaction business. That's why I feel like I want to be in the transaction business. So where the railroads cross, that's bringing the cargo, he's just going to collect some rents, you know what I'm saying, by every single one. You know what I'm saying? Not just try to be, and then on top of that, he's, you know what I'm saying? So he had his infrastructure set up. That's intellectual property. They had to break that up. They made laws because of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt. And you saw me looking around because I actually have his book somewhere. Yeah, it's called Titan, which is a biography of Rockefeller. I think it's downstairs on my downstairs bookshelf. Excellent book, and anybody trying to be a Titan, I highly recommend reading that book on Rockefeller just to understand how to make moves.
I'm gonna pick that on Audible, man. I listen to books nowadays, but I definitely want to put that on my list.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like, he had every aspect of his market cornered. I mean, that was a beautiful thing when you think about it.
So for me, on taking a little bit to that, I love this conversation, by the way. Like, I feel like with this blockchain rules movement, instead of us saying, okay, let's learn from Rockefeller, right? Because we could say, okay, we gonna take 30%. We can flip the pie and be like, we found it. We're going to give 30% to charity, pretty much. And that still would have been fair. But let's flip it. We'd be like, let's give the majority to charity in a sense, because it's so much more. We don't need it because it's better use with them. If you do, like, if you get some mathematicians in there, some real, that's what statisticians, actuaries, and all them. I bet you if they find a just balance, it'd be somewhere where the majority is better. What the majority of the resources would be for the people, right?
Right.
I'm sure, I don't know that, but I feel like that's what it is, because all we need is 30%. If I sell one NFT right now, musical art, for $1 million right now, one, not 1 million copies to make $1 million, one copy to make $1 million, right? 700,000 of that is going to the arts. So that's, to me, I'm looking at like a 300,000 sale. That's not a 700. That's a business model.
No, and actually, this goes back to that, like, how much money do you need? And again, don't get me wrong, I'm a capitalist. I'm by no stretch of the imagination Marxist or any of that. Yeah, but like, the thing is, there's a certain amount of money that once you get it, like once you get in Bezos territory, once you get in Elon Musk territory, you like, look, if you're like me, you watched that movie Brewster's Millions when you were a kid, you can't spend, if you try to spend that much money, if you just spent all you could every day, you'll never spend all that money. And so the model that you're talking about, I see that as infrastructure. Create grants to support new Black businesses, create grants and endowments for HBCUs. Like that, this money can go back into like community building, right? And create Black Wall Streets all across the country. You know what I'm saying? Like it's infrastructure.
Infrastructure. And you think about it, the other side is this. It challenges other people to do the same thing. So if I can do it, you know, I can show that the model works. I mean, it has to be on a blockchain because my business model is basically NFT arts, right? There's only a certain type of product that can sell for such a high value. So you have to actually be in this market or assign something first. But it just so happens that art is a unique industry. Art, if the world crashing, if you look, there's a stat, I'm gonna see if I can find it. Art as an asset class performing has outperformed every other industry, right?
Wow.
Over time, because nobody is saying, oh shit, the house is whatever. Let me sell my Pablo Picasso. Let me sell my Salvatore Mundi, which went for $500 million. That's literally only if everything is burning down and there's nothing else. Like that's the last option because there's so much sentimental value to it. There's sentimental currency in there. There's emotional currency. When you see a certain image, it'll bring you right back to exactly where you were when you first saw that image. You know what else does that? Music. If I hear the same song, it brings me all the way back. Like it's like I just heard the song. I remember what I was wearing. I remember the smell that was around me.
Yeah, the feeling inside your chest.
Everything. I get the same butterflies if it was butterfly feelings inside associated with it. I get the same butterfly. So that's why with the Antiquity Project, I try to embody the appreciation of the old and the new, because it's actually called a collection of musical art, right? Inspired by ancient and current events.
Yeah. Look, let me use this as a segue also, because again, we've had multiple conversations. But when you talk about like collections, right? Like I think you mentioned Bach at one point and how he would put together, these musical, collections. And you also talked about back in the day how the difference between the business model now, where people get like cents on the dollar for their musical art, to like back in the day, whether it was musical art or not. There was patronage. And, we talked about like how popes and like the Medici family and other like wealthy patrons would patronize these great artists to have them produced. And so these people, they weren't living like hand to mouth. These people were living very comfortably based on the patronage they received. Right. So they could produce this art. I want you to speak to the audience about how you see blockchain, cryptocurrency, specifically NFTs, how that either can support moving back to some form of new age patronage, or like just talk about how you see that.
Yeah, I feel like that is actually who I've been studying in the most recent times in terms of everything associated with them, like their lifestyle and everything. And that's the reason why I shy away from the term like albums and singles and stuff. I don't want that association. I love the music, you know what I'm saying, but I don't like the music business, you know what I'm saying? So back then they were getting patronized. They weren't getting paid. I don't want to get paid. I want to get patronized. I'm looking for collectors and patrons, people who appreciate art. So they the ones who want to put a value on the art. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because
they appreciate it. They're not trying to look for a deal. In fact, they don't want a deal. You know what I'm saying? They want it to be, because remember, this is an investment for them, right? So you buy a painting for $500,000. It's going to grow over time. It's proven because of provenance, right? The ability to track the owners, the ability to track who, when, how, why, right? And so now we have this ability. Those are physical art. Both Beethoven, Johann Sebastian Bach, and them. By the way, I have a project that's about to drop. That's really borrowing from both that world and the world of reggae rhythms, right? But basically, they were getting millions back then. Hundreds of years ago, they were getting millions back then, which is worth pretty much hundreds of millions now, not billions now. So there was always a high value on artists, but somewhere it broke. Like something happened. centralization came. That's what happened.
Yes, the gatekeepers. Yep.
The gatekeepers came in and sucked out all the value, and then now they don't want to leave. So we have to get them out the way. Right.
We have to go in the tabernacle and throw the tables over.
No, that's what I'm saying. Oh man, you better let the only time Jesus came, that hoe was throwing tables out of the place. Man. I'm here on that. I'm on that energy. Let's keep. Man, I'm flipping these tables, man. They gotta give us our money, bro.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, like with this disintermediation and this decentralization, blockchain just lets it lets the people who create the value flip the tables. That's what it is.
And that's what I'm saying. We create the value, we get to distribute the value, and we're the best places of value on that value. Like, who is to tell us how much? Nobody came to me and say, hey, you know what, you should price it. Hey, wait a minute. Imagine if I was signed to a major label. Hey, wait, remember now, songs are only $1. What do you, I mean, come on. You know, that's crazy. Think about that.
Yeah, I think you got to thank Steve Jobs for that, right? Like,
yeah. And I'm just like, and I'll be a nigga be like, yo, drop me, bro, because I'm charging $1,000. I don't care what y'all talking. So I ain't have to deal with all of that. God protected me from that, because He know I'm crazy like that. Like, I'll be like, yo, drop me then, bro. I'm out of here. But I'll be like Prince, slave. I ain't doing now. I'm gonna charge $1,000. Don't tell me nothing. Matter of fact, don't even say $1,000. We might have an argument because they don't want to price it in E. They want to price it in we'll have two arguments. First of all, it need to be $1,000. And now the second argument is it need to be priced in E. And instead of having all them conversations, we just gonna put it on the blockchain and then talk. Now we can talk.
That's right. Nah, that's what's up, man. Look, we're coming up on time. There's one thing though, because we talked about the past, kind of talked about the present, but I want to leave on a forward-looking note, and I want you basically, from your perspective, from where you've been, where you sit now, what do you think the future holds for NFTs? Like, where is this NFT thing going from your perspective?
I feel like there's a bit of a bubble in the NFT space, because that's what happens. They run in there with people with money, throw money at money. So that's going to fizzle out a little bit. And then the true, like any other industry, the true values is going to rise to the top. But it's not going to be like 1 or 2, or it's not going to be a big 3. It's going to be a big 300. You know what I'm saying? It's just scale. Everything is about scale. What I also wanted to say, like, it's going to allow opportunity to change other models. Like, this destroyed. Look what I did. What I did can't work in the music industry. I dropped one single. Where normally when you drop a single, you got to promote it, and then you got to drop the album. I mean, the video for that single, and then do it again 2-3 times, and then drop an album, rinse and repeat. I would have got dropped from the label because I would have told them, look, I'm dropping this single. I'm not saying nothing. No, I'm not saying no. I don't want no. We would have had an argument about that. I would have had to turn Dame Jazz over there like that. We're not putting out no album. I don't want to say, the whole point is to not say nothing. Blockchain rules. Did Satoshi say something before? Did he say, hey, my niggas dropped the white paper? That's it. So blockchain rules, I was just like, yo, look.
Peer-to-peer money.
Peer-to-peer, look, this is what it is. I'm coming out. And then we would have had another argument. So you see, the trend is we would have been having too many arguments. So we had another argument because I ain't dropped another video or song until 6 months from then. But in fine arts, you put an art on it, you're not going to necessarily buy it. It doesn't need to go right. It's not hotcakes. It's not Walmart.
How long did it take to paint the top of the roof or the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
How long did Michelangelo take to make David?
Yeah, he's not dropping a bunch of Davids every 5 minutes. I mean, it's scarcity again. It's a scarcity thing. You just want to have. So what I want to do when you mention Bach, I want to do that before we cut on time. But this allows Black people especially to be as creative as we ever could be, because we always were put in a position where we're not inspired to be creative because we need some money.
Yeah,
and we need this money. We need to raise.
You get the short-term bag, and you sacrifice long-term creativity.
Yeah, like who cares about Like, who cares about anything when you need that money? You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares?
Right. What's that? Maslow's hierarchy? The bottom of it is, you know, the basic needs.
I hear you saying, God bless me with this talent and all that, but why I ain't got no money to show for it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that right there allows, what blockchain allows you to break that model. There's no need for a middleman. So if you get a middleman, you must trust him. There's no need for a third party. So if you get a third party, you must trust them. It's not saying that we don't trust nobody no more. It's just saying you don't need trust. It's a trustless system. So if you add trust on top of a trustless system, you're going to the moon, bro. So what? And before I forget, the Johann Sebastian Bach and all of them, they did what they call movements, right? And the movements is different songs, or it wasn't lyrics, but different compositions, right? Musical compositions, right? That lasts even up to an hour, 2 hours, right? And it was called one thing. It was called, let's call it Songs of Solomon, right? I'm just using that, right? Songs of Solomon. And it was 7 songs within it. 7 different compositions that clearly this is the same composition. And then this is clearly a new composition, especially when it said, and it's people clapping and all that. And it started doing, you think that's enough. No, that's the same song. You know what I'm saying? So you have, that concept, hold that. Then the other concept of rhythms that you find in the Caribbean, right? Jamaica. Shout out to them. Shout out to them. They have the person who make the beat and they call it a rhythm. But instead of him make a bunch of beat, he's the star. And all the stars get on his rhythm. So you got, for me, I'm an exennial, right? I'm an exennial, right between, right?
Right.
I'm man, Spraga Benz, Born Tequila. You see what I said? And all of them, I want to hear them on that same one beat. I don't care how many of them. I want to listen to that same beat, remind you, up to 15 different times. For some of them, 15 different artists have their own version. So those are the two concepts I brought them together, right? And with a song called Politics, produced by my brother. He's a 2-time Grammy nominee. He's from ATL. He was smashing the beat battles when the beat battles was in ATL. And then he went to LA. He worked with the likes of Kanye West. He worked with right now Brent Fires. He worked with who's worked with Drake and I think Meek Mills. So he's in the system. He produced this record, right? And I had to get this cleared too by the way, this side note by Universal. But the point is, I made 4 versions of this one rhythm that my brother made. It's called the Politics rhythm. You have Politics 1, Politics 2, Politics 3, and Politics 4. And I have an audible ready just in case it go crazy, right? So
nice. The
first one is from what they know me as is singing. On Crypto, you're gonna hear that style of singing. On the second one is my first time ever rapping. I put a limit on myself. Definitely not blockchain rules, but I put blockchain rules on this project and I'm rapping for the first time ever. So that's going to be a surprise to a lot of people who know me from being a singer.
That's what, MC being an MC, that's what's up.
MC being a master of ceremonies. Let's start. By the way, I own that trademark too. MC Music, I own that trademark too. I wasn't playing. So,
I see.
Politics 3, that's with me singing in patois. So man, I got switch up and sing the whole thing. You see me I said? On the whole
that's
song.
What's up.
On 3.
Yeah.
And on 4, I'm singing all French. I never sang or wrote a song in French in my life. But for this,
Paris, je t'aime. Yeah.
Voilà, c'est ça même. Voilà, moi j'ai bété américain. Moi, j'ai bété américain. Right? So
that's what's up.
So now, for the cause, I shot the video for Africa is already wrapped up. I already shot it. I go to Jamaica in 2 days from this interview. Today, 2 days I leave to Jamaica. I shoot by the time this broadcast, I would have already shot the video in Jamaica. I come back here to shoot movement number 2. One of the videos here in my home state.
Yeah. And then you tell me, so your process is you're actually shooting the videos backwards?
Backwards, right. So the 4th one, I'm shooting a video for it. And that part, I didn't plan it. It just so happened that I had to go business. Like I had to put my suit on. And so while I'm there, I'm going to take advantage of shooting. So that's what made me write the song. I wrote the song the night before I went on the plane. So when you hear that, that's not only my first time I ever wrote a song in French, and by the way, I'm singing and rapping in that, because now I'm blockchain rules. I'm doing it all. But I also wrote it the night before I flew on the plane to go save my father's legacy, because I ain't playing, bro. And so that whole thing
can't
too,
play with
like,
that.
I wear a suit, and like you see today, I'm suit and tie, but I'm a block boy by nature. And this was a little hard for me to really get comfortable, because I'm from Hartford, like I'm from the actual hood, like for real, the real hood, like. So it's like going there and being polished. You know, thank God they have like my father's right hand man is still in there, so he be coaching me. You know what I'm saying? Like he helps me not go too wild. You know what I'm saying? And he knows how to speak to me and be like, yo, you know, I understand how you feel, but this. So blockchain rules is I'm all ready to go, bro. So the video, going back to the video, the story talks about the main parts of the 5 years. So that theme is basically the sample Isaac Hayes, but you guys would know it from Mind Playing Tricks on You. You know what I'm saying? So Ghetto Boy, right? Yeah. And there's a story behind that, but we don't have enough time. But when we get into it, but the point is,
this ain't the last time we gonna chop it up.
I did a deal with Universal Records to get this out.
Yeah, that's huge.
Type of deal though, I can't talk to y'all about, because by the fact it's signed already. I just, you know, I'm waiting for the copy or whatever, but my part's signed. But when I get that copy, so I'm not gonna say what it is and why it's such a blockbuster deal. When I get that copy, that's gonna be the Satoshi contract. That's gonna be a Satoshi-like contract, bro. So I can't go into it. And it's,
you're gonna be the first to do another thing.
First to do another thing, and it's more for future value. Think future value, and think how after this, when a label gets wind of this, they're not going to do deals like this, and I'm not going to do a deal that's not like that. I'm going to be like, look, listen, you know I'm in Satoshi music. Don't even come to me talking no crazy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
You know what's crazy? This is exactly what happened with the Master P deal when he got that 85% distribution deal. And once they figured out how much money he made off that, they're like, we ain't doing that no more. We ain't doing that.
We ain't doing that no more. Shout out to Master P showing how you go and change. He the Satoshi at that moment.
That's
so
right.
Everybody, and then to be honest, to take this Satoshi thing a little further, like in order to exist and stand out in a marketplace, you have to find your Satoshi thing. What is it that you do first or different? Yeah, that's deep. I just came. Yo, you can't have these jewels unless you're on a block boy. You gotta have that block boy. You know
it's the block boys effect, baby. It's the block boys effect.
Facts, bro. So that's all I got, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I say, you know,
love, man.
Yeah, that's, you know, whatever. You know, I actually got to run on another. I'll say this. Look, for our thing is this: we gotta onboard people. Right? We want to be like the blockchain rules. We have a private Facebook group. Like you can only be invited in. So, you know, I'll send you a link to that. You know what I'm saying? It starts in my network, but we're global, right? But it's just that these are personal, private people. And I want to invite you in the group, and we just share ideas, share knowledge, share insight.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, but in that group right there though is you know, I'm doing like I'm going to be the first time I'm going to announce that I'm doing a pop-up NFT drop party, because I want to see the market and see who's out here, and I think that's going to be like a Satoshi, a pop-up NFT drop party. You know
I never heard of such, so I definitely want to be a part of that.
Yeah,
man. Link me into that.
We're gonna do that, you know what I mean? So that's where it is, man. So anybody who want to support our main goal for that is to help onboard 5,000 people on the blockchain in 3 years, right?
No,
so I think that's possible.
Absolutely. And just so everybody knows, we're gonna have like links in the description, links to MC's his artwork, some of his videos, and other things, and we're actually gonna put, you know, some clips of some of this stuff at the tail end of this episode as well. But brother, I want to thank you, you know, for myself and everybody else involved with Block Boys for pulling up on the block, chopping it up with us. This has been an exhilarating conversation. Yeah, and I'm excited. Actually, I can't wait, you know, to have you, you know, back for the next time. But to To all my viewers, though, I want to tell y'all, holla, and I'll see y'all next time. I pull up on the block. You know what it is.
Thanks for your time, man. I hope this was good for y'all. I hope y'all could support the movement. This is definitely blockchain rules. I mean, blockchain rules is your own rules. It's what it means to you. Use blockchain rules. Put blockchain rules on legal rules, and just change the game. Like change it. Become your own Satoshi of your world. And that's blockchain rules, bro.
That's what's up. Prophetic words. All right, y'all. Peace out. Love.